creativity and how you approach play when art is your work, which I think will form the crux of our conversation today. I think we do have to address the elephant in the room, which is COVID-19 and how it's affected you professionally and personally as well.
Well, obviously, professionally, we've had to close down the areas where I work and are allowed to work in the arts. So as the coordinator for the Youth Arts Council, I haven't been able to connect very much with my youth in person, obviously. And we were just getting a good start and momentum on our year. Our first outing, we went up to Whistler and visited galleries up there. So it was a great day to spend some time with them, as people. And also, experiencing art together, discussing art. So that was, abruptly cut off. So that's sad. I have, as much as possible, shared with them possibilities and opportunities to send in artwork or literary works as well to the so many online exhibitions and things that are happening now, which is wonderful. So you can keep that way. So I've been making sure that they have connections to that. So which is part of my job of supporting and mentoring them in the arts. But youth and children have such a great energy. And when you're not with them in person, that energy is you can't feel it. So you can feel it a little bit, but it's not the same as when you're face to face.
No, for sure. And so, just amongst each other as well, there is that special social bonding that happens when you work together, and that's missed, I'm sure.
Absolutely. As I said, that day up in Whistler, we spent more than 12 hours together, and it's a wonderful way to get to know them, a wonderful way to bond with them, because I feel like as a mentor that you can connect with them a little bit more often as the need arises. They're youth, and so they're going through challenging times as it is, being youth. Mm-hmm. And then you throw in something else like the situation that we're currently in, and I just want to make sure they're okay from my end. I don't delve a lot. How you doing? Kind of thing. Here's something that you might be interested in. So I don't make it really heavy, but I still regularly connect with them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you?
Well, I have to say that, in the first couple of weeks, I thought, wow, I have all this time to do all these projects that I put to the side because of one reason or another. And it didn't happen. I have to say it didn't happen right away, because I think I still had to figure out how I was feeling with the situation. Mm. But once I got back into my artwork again, then I was on a roll, and it was look out. And so I've applied for, right now I'm in 2 online exhibitions. And so that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And that my art is out there, and that I have an opportunity to create art for these situations. But yeah, it did throw me for a little bit of a loop, kind of thing. And I did sort of sit around and contemplate, how am I going to handle this? But for me, the art always comes to the rescue, so to speak. And sometimes you have to push yourself. Sometimes
did you find that you had to do?
I did. Yeah, I did, because I knew it was there. I just had to take the step. It's like, well, with some people, exercise is like you just have to get to the gym, or you just have to put on your runners and go outside for that walk, kind of thing. Yeah. So you just have to take the step. But I made sure to take little steps.
Right.
Maybe finishing something I'd already started, or researching something I'd like to do, rather than just getting right in and setting up the whole thing. Like, I'm going to dye 10 scarves today, or I'm going to do this painting today. I would just do like one little thing, to sort of, just inch my way there.
That's right.
But once I got going, it was easier. You have to put that one in front of the other, so to speak, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it did happen.
Were you ever able to identify why it was you felt you needed at first just to sit back and reflect inwardly rather than going to art right away?
Well, there's me as a person first.
Right.
Art is a big part of me as a person, but it's not the whole part of me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to figure out the whole part of me. How is the whole part of Lyn, all of Lyn, going to react to the situation that we're in?
Mm-hmm.
And then what parts of me are going to address it by doing this or doing this? Am I going to exercise more than I did before? Am I going to do more art than I did before? Am I going to connect with more people online than I did before? So, you know, I had to figure out what parts of me were going to do what. So it wasn't going to be art right away. It was going to be, how do I feel about this? And how does art fit in with that?
Right. So you have all your buckets, your family and friends and
right.
work, and you had to address each bucket.
Yeah.
Differently.
And to throw in another wrench, I just retired at the end of March from the job that I had at the Surrey Arts Centre for 23 years. So that in itself was a big change.
Yeah.
And then I started working at a different part of the city in Heritage, like less than a week after I retired.
Right. So that's a huge
change.
Transition.
Yeah, because now I'm retired from one job, at least. I'm bringing in a pension, and so that's all new. And there's a lot of paperwork involved with that. So that's a whole project unto itself, right?
Right.
Then there's the paperwork of applying for a job again, being interviewed for a job, and then, you know, basically I'm pretty much still in training, and I only got maybe less than 10 shifts into my new job, which is a lot of fun, and they kept us on as long as possible. But in my job at the historic Stewart Farm, we get to dress up in Victorian clothing, and we tour people around the house, tell them about the history, plus we bake cookies and things for teas that people have there. There are spring bake camps, but they all got canceled. So there was a lot of prep happening, and then the events didn't happen. And, you know, as much fun as it is, and as much as heritage and history is important, it's not an essential service. So we did eventually get laid off. So there was that I had to figure out too. So there was all those different parts. So art wasn't the first thing, although I knew at one point it'd be a big thing. In me sort of feeling like, okay, I've got my groove back again. So yeah, but not right away.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And you've had so much going on at the same time, but the not knowing is what gets us, I think, generally. Is we love to control our environments, and of course this is one thing we can't control, and it's global, so it's such a unique situation to have a globally shared experience. Although people, of course, will question how shared is it, because women seem to bear the brunt of it. But I'm intrigued also about how different is your approach to art now than it was before. And before, when you approached an art project, would you have that introspection anyways?
Maybe not as much, because I wouldn't have had the time for it. And that was one of the reasons for retiring, was that I just needed to have more time in my life to do other things, art included. And so now I have the time for it. I have the time for the introspection and the research, and maybe trying out a few things on maybe technical sort of how you paint this, or how you would wrap jewelry, you know, that kind of thing. Now I have the time to be able to do the more research, whereas I did a lot of sort of just fitting it in. And so I don't know if it was rushed, but I would really have to what do you call it, program my time. I'd really have to schedule myself and say, okay, I have this and this and this, and these hours are for that. And as anybody who is creative knows, just because you have those hours, that doesn't mean you're going to feel creative between
Exactly.
1 and 4 on Thursday. You know,
Yeah.
it may not happen. So a lot of my art was done at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning when I was working, more. And yeah, so I have the good fortune in one way to have the time now to take more time. So my approach is more laid back. It's more researched. And that doesn't mean I didn't do research before. I have time to do more. So, yeah.
Yeah. More in-depth research on techniques and more practice with those new skills. It's just another layer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I see that as a positive, absolutely. And when we get back to whatever new normal is happening and we do get back to work and things like that, I hope that's something that I will give more time to, at least like keep that time that I've established
Make
for
another
now.
bucket for it, just to
Yeah,
keep
absolutely.
expanding as an artist.
Yeah, for sure.